possible. I know the brother. Hey, Shalom Israel. And I know brother got to make a move. Shalom, good to see everybody. And the water for watching, and the water for those that are here in class with us in the flesh. And strong salute to those that are out there doing this work, spreading this gospel. To our fellow brothers, isbhpk Houston, isbhpk Virginia, isbhpk Rochester, New York. We got brothers in California, Guatemala, London. I want to say shalom to all the brothers worldwide that serve the Most High in Christ and spread this gospel and trying to resurrect our people out of a dead state. You know, just on that point alone, let's go to Ezekiel 37 real quick, and we'll get to the topic. Good to see everybody come out and study. And if anybody's watching online and you have any questions, just send a comment if it's live. Hopefully we can address it. We'll try our best to try to answer it as much as possible and then get back to the topic. But go ahead and read that right there.
37, you want 4?
Yeah.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 4. Again he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones.
Prophesy to these what?
These bones.
These bones, right? Because that's where our people is like in a dead state. So he said, prophesy to these bones. When you look at our people are notorious for glorifying the most foolish things possible.
Yeah, that's true.
And glorifying things that have no relevance as far as to the propelling of our nation. You look at every other culture. You know, they're doing things like harvesting grain, and their engineering programs are excelling. Their education, they're building schools and hospitals for their own particular people. But our people here are waiting for handouts. You know, and we celebrate some of the most foolish things, and we wait for handouts for our government to decide to take care of us as a people and to look out for us. And the Most High is like he's asking the question to Ezekiel: can these bones live? Can we come out of the state of just perpetual foolishness, drugs, gangs, violence, divorce, abortion, prison, crimes? Can we come out of this mentality and grow as a nation of people and develop? You know, read on.
God, prophesy unto these bones and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord.
So what is it going to take for our people to come out of a dead state? Read that part again.
Hear the word of the Lord.
And so that's what we care about, and that's what we want. That's our objective, is for our people, the so-called Negroes, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians, all those scattered throughout North, Central, and South America, Negro to Indian descent. We want our people to live. We want our people to come back to life as a nation of people, not just a subservient population waiting on free housing and welfare.
And benefits from the state.
And benefits from, and waiting on getting, you know, I can't wait till I get my Social Security. I'm applying. Some people may need it. Not talking negative against those that may need it, but those are not answers for a nation of people. Those are not solutions for a nation of people in trouble. So what's going to help us as a people is to get on the same page, and us as often as possible doing what?
Hear the word of the Lord.
Hear the word of the Lord. That's what we want. That's what we care about. So we're not going to read all of that in Ezekiel 37. Just get to the point. So that's what it's going to take to revive us as a nation. But the Most High has specific things within the word of the Lord that we want to get into today that can elevate us if we agree upon it. And so to go ahead and get started, I know we're a little bit late. Let's go ahead and start with Mark chapter 3. And the topic of the class is called Holding Experience Hostage. And we'll get into as the class flows, it'll explain itself. Let's go ahead and start off in Mark chapter 3. Start at verse 1.
Mark chapter 3 and verse 1. And he entered again into the synagogue.
Go ahead.
And there was a man there which had a withered hand. And they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him.
So now here you got a man with a withered hand, And this is the Pharisees, the so-called leaders of the people, watching Yahushua come in, and they've already premeditated an idea or to incriminate him in the event that he does something not according to the law. They're ready to incriminate him right off the jump.
Never mind the fact this guy had a real problem with having a withered hand in a society that's an agricultural society.
Right.
You survive off of planting and investing in the ground until the earth. You got a withered hand.
Right.
Ain't too much you can get done.
It's hard to go to work with a withered hand.
Yeah.
Right. And that withered hand could be from paralysis. It could be from palsy.
Yeah.
It could be from being crooked or deformed at birth.
Yeah.
But whatever it was a malfunction within that hand.
Come.
So, but that's not the focus of the Pharisees. The focus of the Pharisees is on who? Yahushua. Read on.
And he saith unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth.
Stand forth. Come here for a second and stand right here. Read on.
And he saith unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath day?
Why is Yahushua asking these questions? Why is he posing the question with the man that has the withered hand right next to him? Why is he posing this question to the Pharisees? What does the Pharisees believe? What do they believe?
Can't do any work on the Sabbath.
That no work is to be done because that is the law, and you'll be in violation of the law if you do any work on the Sabbath. Just like right now, there's a law that you cannot feed a homeless person.
Right.
You can get tickets for that. If the police catch you handing out free food to the homeless, you get in trouble. They're withdrawing you because they don't care about the fact that, wait a minute, these people are on the corners hungry. That's not the concern. The concern is you're in violation if you reach out and extend to them. Because that same mentality that we're reading about then still exists today. Read on.
Or to do evil.
Go ahead.
To save life or to kill.
He says to save life or to kill. He's asking these questions because he's probing their conscience. He's probing their conscience to find out what it is that they really believe in. What it is that they really care about. What is it that they focus on that they want to be done? Is it just to keep the law? Is it so much about identifying when you're in violation and what's right or what's wrong? Or do you actually care about the people that the law is serving or that the law was made for? Or do you care about the people? So this is why Christ is presenting these and posing these questions the way he is to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Read on.
But they held their peace.
He said, but they did what?
Held their peace.
Why didn't they answer this question?
Because they had a bad answer.
Because they had a guilty
They want to
conscience.
expose their true intentions.
They had a what?
Guilty conscience.
They had a guilty conscience. What else?
They got exposed.
They got exposed
They condemn people on the Sabbath day when they find them breaking the law.
because you know what? To be able to incriminate somebody is already what they have in mind. He was just going to show the evidence of the fact that of what's already a reality in people's mind is not the good of what the law is supposed to be about, but about the fact that you broke the law, you're in trouble. Some people are in a position to really help the people, but I'm not looking at what could benefit the people. I'm just looking at tradition. I'm looking at standards and policies. I'm looking at what's appropriate in my perspective. No, that man is not disregarding the fact that this man is crippled. They held their peace. They couldn't answer that question. So what did Christ do? Read on.
And when he had looked round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness.
He says he looked at them with what?
Anger.
With anger. So Christ is looking at the Pharisees and Sadducees. Y'all can't answer this question? Is that a difficult question to answer? You can't answer the question of whether it's good to do good on the Sabbath? Or is it a good thing? Or is that a bad thing? You can't answer that? Read on. Because he understood what?
Being grieved for the hardness of their hearts.
What's wrong with men?
Hardness of their hearts.
Men have hard what?
Hard hearts. They're heartless, basically. They don't care.
They lack compassion.
Compassion, thank you.
They lack compassion. They lack empathy. They lack sensitivity to the needs of the people. And this is what he's looking at of why the Pharisees would have that ability. Why would you do that? Why would you not be able to have compassion to a person that can't control the fact that their hand doesn't work? Why are we lacking the compassion to make that decision? He said because the hardness of what?
Their hearts.
Go ahead.
He saith unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored.
And his hand was what?
Restored.
Go ahead.
Whole as the other.
Man, he had his hands
Wow.
back. Man, hands
Great
came.
day.
Yeah, it's a good day, man. He get, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to wash your hand when one hand works, one hand doesn't, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's hard to do that, man. You need that other hand
That's right.
in conjunction with the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hard to do one. You got two hands and one is useless. So now it's like, man, my hands are restored. I can work now,
Fully functional.
fully functional. I'm not handicapped. I'm not at a disadvantage.
Right.
Read on.
And the Pharisees went forth, and straightway took counsel with the Herodians
Go
against
ahead.
him.
And then they said after he healed the man, they took counsel to do what?
With the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him.
Why would you want to destroy him for healing a man who was withered and crippled and handicapped on the Sabbath day? Why would you have such a problem with that?
He just made them look like fools. Like basically, he just exposed them in front of everybody, and it brings their notoriety with the people and their reputation with the people down. You know, now they look bad in front of everybody. Now they look like a bunch of a-holes, if you will.
Right. I like what you're saying because it's about what they care about. So yes, sir.
It basically starts to get people like, say if your head was this way, now people's head are starting to swing. If I was right if I was going down the right path, or if I should start straying away from what was right before.
Right. So it garners the attention of the people in the congregation, right?
Challenges their influence.
Challenges their influence. Come.
Yeah.
So let's find out what's in these men that will make them do that. Why would they be so grieved and want to put Christ to death because he's doing actual good deeds of healing somebody on the Sabbath?
Can I put one thing real quick?
Come.
It says Herodians, a party among the Jews of the apostolic age, and keenly opposed to Christ, but of which no explicit information is given by any of the evangelists. The party was probably formed under Herod the Great, and appears to have had for its principle that was a right to pay homage to a sovereign who might be able to bring the friendship of Rome and other advantages, but who had personally no title to reign by law and by religion. So the Herodians had nothing, they didn't have nothing to do with the law.
Right.
But these guys that are so about the law are consulting with them.
Right, because the Herodians is a puppet governors that was established by the Romans, and we know that the Herodians themselves were Edomites. They're Idumeans,
Come.
and they were set up as a puppet regime and governors to govern and watch over and police the people, while the people still had full functionality of their beliefs and their customs. But we just want to make sure that you deliver what you owe to Rome, which is those taxes. And we'll oversee you as long as Rome is getting fed their taxes, and then you're still abiding by Roman law. You can have your religion, just make sure you pay your taxes. You know what I'm saying?
So I see that after hearing that definition, the reasons that they did it, I believe, is because they knew Jesus was perfect, and they're not really even about being perfect. They're about their cash.
Right.
You know, so they can manipulate and do all types of things with the people if he was out of the way. Just my thought on it.
Then let's find out. Let's explore that idea. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23, verse 1. That's a great point, because you're looking at people that are resistant to what Christ is about, but still hold a position of leadership. Read on.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 1 reads, This spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat.
It says the scribes and the Pharisees sit in whose seat?
In Moses' seat.
Moses was in the Josephus, it calls Moses the conductor. But we know that Moses was the leader and the guide to the children of Israel out of Egypt. Right? So he says these Pharisees, these lawyers, and these Sadducees, these educated sects, sit in a position of authority. Read on.
These scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat.
Go ahead.
All therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do.
He says, but what they tell you is correct. What they're telling you is the law. They tell what they say that you're supposed to do according to the law is correct. He says, but how they execute the law is a problem. He says, all that they bid you to do, that observe and do. Go ahead.
That observe and do.
Read on.
But do not ye after their works.
He says, but do ye not after their what?
Works.
What after their works? He's going to explain. Read on.
For they say and do not.
It says, because they tell you what to do, but what?
And do not.
And do not. But they don't follow it themselves. They don't follow after their own advice. But they'll penalize you for breaking the law. But there's things that they're missing when it comes to the law, just like we read in Mark about compassion on the people. But they'll penalize you for not following the law. Yes, sir.
Were they operating as if they were above the law?
You can say that. You can say that because they were the lawyers and the lawgivers of the people, that they felt exempt from the law, and they took advantage of their position.
Like congressmen and senators.
Right. You know that, yeah, exactly. They took advantage of their position, and we're going to. Matter of fact, it'll explain it. Read on.
Come, for they bid heavy burdens and grievous to be borne.
It says because they put responsibilities on people's shoulders. He says they tell you what to do. They hold heavy responsibilities on your shoulders. They make sure that you have to abide by all these circumstances and all these laws. Read on.
And lay them on men's shoulders.
And they lay them on men's shoulders. Read on.
But they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers.
Not with
So,
one.
Not with what they tell you to do, and the demand that they have for you is way greater than the demand that they'll put on themselves.
That's scary.
So it's almost like I'm exempt from the law. So I'll make sure by all means that you're qualified and you're following the law, and if not, I'll penalize you and bring you into judgment for violating the law. But I don't put that same scrutiny on my own self and how I keep and maintain the law. So it's not so much that they were above the law, but they were excluded from the penalties of the law as far as having to follow strategically to every single point, or otherwise you'd be in violation. They didn't hold themselves to that same standard. And Christ explains this even greater when you go to, matter of fact, hold this right here and read verse 24.
Come. Verse 24, Matthew chapter 23, verse 24 reads, Ye blind guides, which strain at a net.
He says you strain at a what?
Net.
At a net. You strain at a net, meaning you have 20/20 vision, X-ray vision when it comes to people's mistakes. You got 20/20 vision when somebody does something wrong. You got 20/20 vision, and you got people under a microscope, and you can break down every attribute of where they're wrong at, of how they think, and how their actions are off with the Most High, according to the law. Read on.
Ye blind guides which strain at a net.
Go ahead.
And swallow a camel.
He said, but you swallow a what?
A camel.
What does that mean?
They do big wrongs and
Right.
act like you don't see these gigantic wrongs, I guess.
They don't see the elephant in the room.
They don't see the elephant in the room. That meaning they can perceive at every point about what other people do wrong, but for what they allow themselves to do, they bypass it. It's not that we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about what I do. It's about what you do. And I can see what you do, But the things that I allow in myself is way larger and way greater than what I'm watching you do and bring it out to you. So it's the ultimate spirit behind hypocrisy. But we're going to find out what it is. Why are they doing it? Why do they do that? We're going to find out. Read on.
Verse 25. Woe unto you.
He says, woe unto you. Go ahead.
Scribes and Pharisees.
Go ahead.
Hypocrisy.
It's
like
no.
Hypocrites.
Hypocrites. He says, you hypocrites. Why? What makes, we know the definition of hypocrite is what? We can get a play actor, right? One of the definitions of hypocrite is a play actor. One that feigns, which means to be fake. Dissimilar, but it's not just that. It's the one we had in
getting on somebody for one thing and you do the same thing. Well, that's classic.
Right. It was in the
metaphysical Bible.
It's metaphysical of hypocrite is amazing. That definition is off the chain. But it's the same thing. It's a play actor, one who feigns, meaning I'm playing a part, a role. I'm a character. I'm impersonating a part. Go ahead.
Come. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter.
He says, you make the exterior look great. You make the exterior powerful, potent. You worry about the surface. You worry about how people see you. Read on.
But within they are full of extortion.
He said, but with inside of them, what makes a hypocrite is not so much the fact that they just say and do not, but there's something going on internally. Internally, he says, you do what?
They are full of extortion.
They are full of what?
Extortion.
And what else?
And excess.
Meaning, the reason why they're hypocrites is because they have a motive. There's a motive behind the hypocrisy. So we know the definition of hypocrisy or hypocrite.
I got some.
You got it?
Got some.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this ain't the same one, but it's still pretty good. This is Harper's Bible Dictionary. It says Greek hypocrisis, playing a part on the stage.
Playing a part, so they're an actor. Go ahead.
Pretending to be what one is not, or to feel what one does not feel. Scary. Under Jewish and Christian influences, this word came to mean dissimulation,
right,
or the stimulating of qualities of personality and character, religious convictions, or other beliefs not actually present in the person assuming the appearance.
Right, and this is why Christ was so angry in Mark chapter 3, because what were they? They played like they were the leaders, and they were compassionate. They were there about the people, serving the people. But inwardly, were they there actually to serve the people? No. They played the role of being a public servant. The role was played as a public servant. But when it actually came down to serving the public, the people, that's not where their interest was. We just read in verse 24 or 25 that they were full of extortion and what else?
And excess.
What does that mean?
Excess is a ridiculous amount of substances or possessions that you don't necessarily need, but
Right.
just want.
But it was something to gain. They were there not for the people, but it was what they were getting from the people.
Yeah, they were winning.
And that's what made them play actors. That's what made them hypocrites. That's the motive behind the hypocrisy. Is the fact that I'll play a part to retrieve the gain.
Power and cash.
So
Right.
it's basically
I-
like
I-
tax collectors, like you said earlier.
Yeah, to power, money.
Mm-hmm.
When you read Jeremiah chapter 23, matter of fact, somebody get that real quick. Jeremiah chapter 23, start at verse 1 real fast.
Can I hit this up? One more definition of hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
It says, though dissimulation and moral and religious innocence. Sorry, it says throughout the Old Testament, wherever this word is used, it might be more accurately translated godless, profane, or impious, as it is in later versions, through dissimulation and moral and religious insincerity. were widely prevalent and recognized throughout the Old Testament.
So insincere, right? Read that right there in Jeremiah 23.
Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors
He says, woe be unto the pastors that what?
that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture.
I destroy this and scatter the sheep, because it's not about the people. It's about what I can get from the people. See, the Most High has always had a problem with just a person that's involved religiously for the sake of gain, for the sake of a reward, for the sake of getting something out of the deal. It was never about me doing this work for the sake that the benefit of the people may be exalted or promoted. And their well-being is what's put on a pedestal. I do this work because I get pay, I get reward, I get something out of it, I get notoriety, I get a position, I get to look like I'm in charge. This is what he said, you may clean the outside, meaning the appearance is great. The appearance is great. Matter of fact, where you at in
I am on 26.
jump back to verse, stay in 23. Hold where you at real quick. Just want to get this point up.
Verse 23?
No. Hold at chapter 23.
Okay.
And start at verse 5.
Come. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 5 reads, but all their works they do for to be seen of men.
What do they do? Why do they do what they do?
For to be seen of men.
Why do I put myself in a position of a leader?
To be seen of men.
That I'm a public servant.
To be seen of men.
That I care about the people.
To be seen of men.
Because there's excess, there's extortion, I get something to gain, and I get honor. And that's what made these Pharisees insincere.
And the public was their stage.
Yeah.
Their stage was the service of the eye service. The people got to see the position of leverage they had over the people, the ability to judge, the occupation of being a lawyer,
Yeah.
the importance of it,
The title.
the standard,
The title.
the
Yeah.
title. There's a title thing amongst our people.
Yep.
There's a class system amongst our people.
It's a separation.
It's a separation. I'm of this stock. I'm of this title.
And this is what makes me better.
Yeah.
This is what elevates me.
So was the goal the service to people, or was the goal elevating up the social ladder and having the ability to not look dirty, not look unclean?
But also I get to escape the same scrutiny that I put people under. See, I feel like if I get in this position, I don't have to undergo the same disciplines that the people have to undergo.
Yeah.
I'm not judged by the same measure.
That's for you guys.
That's for y'all. That's for you sinners. That's for you no-gooders. You know, the dirty do-workers.
There's a major class problem amongst our people in general. Whenever we're undisturbed by other nations, anyway, whether it's the Romans, Egyptians, the Assyrians, when we have opportunities in space where it's just our people alone, we have this same dynamic that's consistent among our people.
Yeah. And this is what makes Christ so angry, because you're ready to put me to death and get Herodian's permission. The Herod Agrippa and his constituents. You're ready to go. The Pharisees are ready to go get permission from them to kill Christ, because he's actually in it for the people, because he actually cares about the healing and the restoration of the nation.
You know what it shows? It shows that a lot of them were house slaves. Because if the Herodians were the overseers of our nation, and they're going to the overseers talking to them, then what spirit they deal with?
House.
Slave, born slave.
They deal with that
Homeborn slaves.
that slave mind, that slave mentality.
No master.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if the Pharisees, were these like religious men, or were these public servants?
They were religious men. They were the men that had the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and they could enforce judgment. If you were caught stealing, they were the ones that you would hold. They would hold court. You would go to the Pharisees and Sadducees, and they would go to the law and find out what is the punishment that you deserve for stealing a horse. What is the punishment?
Supposedly, in the name of the Lord, right?
In the name of the Lord, based on the law. They were the enforcers of the law. So they had the right to say, if you did a crime based on the law if it was worthy of death. Because adultery was worthy of death. So if you were caught in the act of adultery, they would go to the law and execute you according to the law.
Literal execution.
Literal execution. Because you committed adultery, and the law says thou shalt not commit adultery.
Was it kind of like the dynamic of the Taliban, where the Taliban would go and they would sit here and stone women and?
Well, the Taliban had Abraham's of Abraham's descendancy. They carry a lot of the Old Testament religions because everybody knows that the Quran is a plagiarized version of the Bible.
Right.
It's the majority of the Quran. Its initial core of the Quran is an extrapolation of the commandments of the Torah, along with some additional sayings of supposed Prophet Muhammad. So they follow a plagiarized version of the Bible. So they still use the prayer aspects. They still use the punishments. They still behead people. They still kill people that they say are in violation of the laws. And they understand that it comes from they adopted it from the Torah. They understand that it's in the Quran that they adopted their principles from the Torah, because they know that they're descendants of Abraham. But these Pharisees, their intention is not pure, because what they're in it for is for the wrong reason. I mean, I'm in this not for the people. I'm in this because I get to exclude myself from certain criteria. I get to exclude myself from certain things. I get to be omitted. But at the same time, I get to point the finger at you and say, you're in violation. And then on top of that, I'm gaining something on the back end. It's critical that I'm getting the honor, I'm getting the notoriety, I'm receiving the benefits of being the elite within the population of the city. Yes, sir.
Is it safe to say that they were like Old Testament like bankers? They were focused more so on the Torah versus like the other concepts of like Christ at the time?
The New Testament wasn't written at the time.
Okay.
So that's what they had to go off of.
Okay.
So yes, sir.
Well, I was saying, when you look at it, these men exchanged something. They exchanged the love of the Most High. It talks about it in John 12:43. It says, "For they love the praise of men." So what they fell in love with was not the praise of the Most High. They loved the praise from men, that status that they got. They substituted the praise of the Most High, as it talks about, for the praise of men, for that status, for that ability to extort and to be looked at a certain way. So that's really how I'm sure it didn't start out that way. But when people get empowered, when they get a title, when they get a position, a lot of times it goes to their head. And so then their motives start to change, and they start to see the influence. I don't have to be so attached to the Most High, because now I can work my own will. I can do my own thing, and I can get this praise for myself. And where it was originally intended for them to give the glory to the Most High. The Sabbath was made for what? It was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. But we'll forsake that, so we'll get the glory, so we can condemn and have this power, and people will look at us on the Sabbath like, look what we did. Instead of giving the glory to the Most High and allowing good to be done, we'll inflict our own power and our own institution, our own mind, our own ways on that time. So it really is just an exchange that they did. I'm gonna go for self. I'm gonna go for my own glory instead of the Most High, and that's what he talks about the job.
That sounds like the swallowing of the camel right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at what you did, not what I do, because I'm basking in my own glory. I'm basking in the power they have. I'm not thinking about the effects. I'm not thinking about how the Most High looks at it. I'm thinking about what kind of gain am I going to get? What kind of glory am I getting? How this person going to look at me? It's not about the Most High anymore.
And it really wouldn't matter if I'm a position of authority. I want to be in the position, like someone said, I want to be in the position of subjection. It's better for a person to sit here and be in power, the position of power, and
because it's
condemning, like you were saying.
it's perceived that if I get into the position of enforcing the law, that I can be omitted from the law. Right. And what you're gonna find out is that Christ says just the opposite. He said he says just the opposite. But we were in, who had Jeremiah 23? And you had
No,
Jeremiah
Matthew-
23.
Matthew
you had Matthew
25.
25. I want you to
23 and 5.
I want you to read verse 5 before we move on. Hold that though. Read that.
Come. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 5 from the top again. But all their works they do for to be seen of men.
To be seen of who?
Men.
Read on.
They make broad their
Phylacteries.
phylacteries.
And these are the Torah. These were scriptures that they would write in very small writing, and then it would be in a box, and then the box would be tied to their forehead, and it would be strapped to their forehead. It was small inscriptions of the law tied to the forehead, such as Deuteronomy 6 and 4, and there's a few other scriptures. I think one in
Say the law is on our forehead.
yeah, but yes, it's the one that law on the forehead, but it's also Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. It was the credo, but it was also serve the Lord with all thy power, all thy mind, and all thy heart. It was a few scriptures that they would use, and they would put it in really small writing, and they would put it in a box, and they would attach the box to their forehead, and to have the appearance that the law is in my mind. And they would also attach the law, the same little box with the scriptures written in it in small writing on the back of their hands, and they would wrap that in their hands, and that would be wrapped, showing the people with the appearance that the law is in my hand and that the law is in my mind. So he says they make the appearance that they're about the law. So when you look at the Pharisee, he's all about the law. He's righteous on the outside. Read on.
They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
And they got the long fringes. I got the extra long fringes for the appearance sake.
You know what's funny? We were talking about the excess in that last scripture. We were talking about excess, and the definition of excess is actions or ways behaving that go beyond what is usual or proper. So we have our borders, our fringes to remind us to keep these laws, these statute commandments. That's some proper, that's some normal.
That's
stuff.
appropriate.
That's appropriate. But they got their excess.
And we
Right.
I'm gonna tie it right here. I'm gonna put it on my hands. I'm extra. I'm gonna go above and beyond what's proper or what's usual. I'm gonna do some extra stuff. It just validates what he said in the scriptures about how they're extortioners and their excess. They love that excess. It's crazy. It's something I thought about when we were talking.
Perfect. Read on.
Verse 6. And the love of the uppermost rooms.
And they love the uppermost what?
Rooms.
The uppermost rooms. The upper rooms is situated above the regular people.
Yeah, upper rooms. Right?
These are separated from the regular people.
Skybox.
I'm in the skybox. I got, I'm in the VIP section. I'm in the Eagle's Nest. I'm in the whatever you want to call it.
That's the Pharisees and
Very
Sadducees up there. Look
Yeah.
Check them out.
I'm in the upper area because it's about position, being upper echelon. I'm in this position not just to be a greater servant to the people, but to appear more important than the people. Because by having that position, there's perks that come with that position. I get to be the executioner of the law. I get to be scrutinous. I get to judge people, but nobody's judging me. I get to appear holy. I get to do it for reward. I get gain. I get notoriety. Look at the ambiance that comes with it. You know, the flattery. Men look at me a certain way. They esteem me a certain way. I have a certain reputation when I come through the city, when I'm in the markets. Read on.
And love the uppermost rooms at feasts.
This is their passion.
You know,
They have a passion for this.
You know, Father Michael, Father Jeremy. You know the Catholic preachers,
Yeah.
priests. They got the little white collar
collar
on.
going across,
Oh, he's
yeah.
Father.
They love that.
Father.
They love that.
Hail Mary. You know.
It begs the question, and you think the Lord said that in this scripture, specifically men wanting other men to look at them and things of this nature? Do you think these people were more after that than actual money itself?
It comes with
Or you
it.
think-
It was a combination of both.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
combination. And we'll show that. We'll show that too. It was a combination of both. Read on. Great question. Read on.
And the chief seats.
So it was about the appearance in the public, that I'm a holy man. Chief seats, I'm separated, I'm distinguished. Read on.
And the chief seats in the synagogues.
Go ahead.
And greetings.
And what?
And greetings.
Where?
In the markets.
And greetings in the market. You address me as a holy man. You don't address me as a regular man. You don't shalom me. You don't shalom me like a regular shalom.
Bow and kiss the ring.
You know, it's about position. It's about title. It's about authority. It's the leadership has perks.
Yep.
So it's not about intentions. It's not about doing what's pure. It's not about healing the people. It's about position, the look of it all, and how people treat me. Like the brother just brought out about the glory that should belong to the Most High. I'm taking some of that glory to me. I'm stealing away some of that glory from the Most High. Read on.
And greetings in the markets.
Go ahead.
And to be called of men.
And to be called of men what?
Rabbi.
Master. Read on.
But be not yet, Salakia, but be not ye called rabbi.
Go ahead.
For one is your master.
Because
You have one master.
You got one master. So they love to be called master. What is the feeling that they get when somebody, shalom master?
No, I love that.
Shalom, shalom, rabbi.
It's empowering. It gasses you up.
Man, my head went up a little bit. I grew an inch or two.
It makes you feel powerful.
Yeah,
You
grab the collar.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Damn right.
You know, I feel better about myself. You should call me rabbi. But Christ is correcting this. He said you shouldn't call nobody rabbi. He said you got one master. Read on.
For one is your master.
He said for one is your master. Read on.
Even Yahushua.
Go ahead.
And all ye are brethren.
And all ye are what?
Are brethren.
You should look at each other like what?
Brethren.
But the Most High got a problem with people in this position that can't look at you like a brother, but they look at you like they're elevated beyond you, above you. You know what I'm saying? Now read that right there in Matthew 23. Jeremiah 23.
Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture.
He said, because you know what they're doing? They're putting off the wrong impression of what it means to serve the Lord. That's not what it means. Being glorified by men is not what it means to be a servant of the Most High. That actually destroys and scatters what leadership is. That undermines the intention of what Christ was about. Christ wasn't about flattering titles. He wasn't about being noticed for his garments. He wasn't noticed about his reputation. You know what? You know why people followed him? Because he healed many people. And this is what made man, I gotta get this real quick. Hold this real quick. Let me get this one verse since we're on this topic. And go to Mark chapter 2 verse 15.
Mark chapter 2 verse 15 reads, and it came to pass that as Yahushua sat at meat in his house, many publicans and sinners sat also together with Yahushua.
It says many what?
Sinners
and what?
Salakia. And publicans sat also together with Yahushua.
Why was he surrounded by a bunch of publicans and sinners?
Because those are the ones that need the most help.
Right. Because yes sir.
Because I believe he didn't really come to save those that are already saved or believe that's already saved. He came to save those that are not saved.
Absolutely. And what he said is, he's of the greater assistance to those that need the most help. And that's what his intention was about. That's what he was there for. Read on.
Come. Many publicans and sinners sat also together with Yahushua and his disciples.
Go ahead.
For there were many.
It says, for there were what?
Many.
There was a whole lot of publicans and sinners around him. No-gooders, low-lifes, hood figures, lost sheep, lost mentally, physically, crippled, handicapped.
Over the dry bones.
Dry bones.
And he couldn't get anything from these kind of people.
These people had nothing to give
When
him.
you're amongst an elite class of people, you can exchange and network certain skill sets and benefits. So it benefits a person, it behooves a person to be amongst an elite class of people. But when you're around publicans, sinners, people that are on a low scale, what benefit is Christ getting out of this?
Yep. What is he getting? What does he gain from having all these people around him at all times? Read on.
And they followed him. And when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eat with publicans and sinners, they said unto his disciples, how is it that he eateth and drinketh with the publicans and sinners? When Yahushua heard it, he saith unto them, they that are whole have no need of the physician.
He says, they that are what?
Whole have no need of the physician.
But who?
But they that are sick.
Read on.
I came not to call the righteous.
Go ahead.
But sinners to repentance.
But sinners to repentance. But somebody in a leadership position that's not adopting that mentality, the Most High has a problem with that. Read that one more time and you can let that go in Jeremiah 23:1.
Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord.
You can let that go. How do I scatter them? Because I'm not there to help them. Because I don't look at them the same. I don't look at them as being on my level. I don't look at them as being equivalent to who I think I am.
You will show what Christ's mentality was. Christ's mentality showed it in Philippians 2:7. So you go there real quick.
Somebody get that.
Show you the difference between where these other men's minds is at with their philanthropies and their extortion and their excess. Where was Christ's mind at? How did he look at himself? Matter of fact, start at 6 and 7.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 6. Who, being in the form of the Most High, thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High.
So understanding who he was to the Most High, and he thought it not equally to have the same mind frame, the same direction, not his own will, but to be in line with his Father. What happened?
But made himself of no reputation.
So was he thinking he was on some level? No. Did he think he was above anybody? Did he think he was beyond correction? Did he think he was above his Father's will? No, he said he took himself of no reputation. These men were doing things for the reputation, for the outlook, for the perception, for the praise of men. Christ was like, no, I take of no reputation for myself. I don't need that vainglory. I don't need these things. You read?
And took upon him the form of a servant.
So he chose to not get high-minded, not to take his position. You know, he could have been like, you know what, I'm the son. I don't have to be subject to anybody. I can do what I want. But he took himself with no reputation and became what?
Form of a servant.
A servant. That mind frame is what allowed him to be down there with those sinners. That mind frame allowed him to be like, you know what? Let me serve my people that are sick. Let me tend to these sheep. Because I'm not above this. I'm not above serving anybody. And that's the mind frame that was lacking with these Pharisees, these Herodians. They felt like they were on some level. And you have to take the mind of Christ. The mind of Christ is of no reputation. You're my brother and I have to care for you. Not only care for you, but let me serve you. What can I do to you to help you? Not how can I extort you. Not how can I gain from you. Not what am I going to get out of the deal. That's the mind of Christ. I just wanted to show the comparison between Christ and these gentlemen that we're dealing with, and how they rolled in comparison to how we're supposed to be following Christ's example. Christ's example was of no reputation. Be a servant and help your brothers. That's all I wanted to bring out.
Now that's perfect. Finish that in Matthew chapter 23.
Matthew chapter 23, verse 9 reads, And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven.
Go ahead.
Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Yahushua. But he that is greater among you,
It said he that is what?
greater among you.
Anybody in any type of leadership position, you have to be conscious about your position. You got to be conscious about how you conduct yourself. You have to be conscious about what it is that people need from you versus what you need from the people. Your priorities have to be straight. That means that I'm here as a servant to them more than they are to give me some honor or for me to gain something from them. Whether that's from notoriety, whether that's from inflation, being greeted a certain way, being treated a certain way, whether that's the benefits of being in rank has its privileges that people say. You know,
Rank makes you a bigger servant.
it makes. But if you have rank, guess what? You're supposed to be more available to the people that need you. More available.
Hey, there's some crazy people, man. They get in them positions, man, and just lose their mind. So I mean, this all makes sense.
If you get it, you get that, you
Yeah.
know. But
It's a
if
trip
you
to me
if you
when I
have
see
somebody that's not trying to take that standpoint, I can understand and see how, coming from the world,
Right.
you'll look at anybody in a position like that. But there are men out here that are
Yeah.
genuinely trying to serve
Yeah.
and genuinely trying to be a
Yeah.
brother, and it's not always like that. But you'll get that.
And there's one point
Yeah.
too. And you would think that the Pharisee of the community,
Mhm.
knew history, because Eli's sons were known for being oppressors of the people,
I didn't know that.
raping women. And that came to the sanctuary. They raped the women. They would take the biggest pieces of meat. They would extort people financially, and they use their positions as a cloak and a hiding point for their malicious activities and deeds, as a clearance point, like kind of money laundering. We have a laundry, we do laundry here. Not knowing this is dope money. Well, we're a priesthood. We're the priest.
Yeah.
No, we're out here really exploiting people.
Exchanging favors.
I thought that was the Levites that was over the church proceedings and stuff.
They were.
This is a generational issue. What I was trying to show was that
Okay.
if you don't make the conscious effort to be in this position to where you're here of service first and follow the example of Christ,
Right.
then by nature of situation, you're going to fade into Eli's son's shoes, like the Pharisees. But they should have known, because weren't they the masters of the law?
Yeah, they were the masters of the law. But and this is what the Most High has a problem with when we're in that position, and we're not standing in the position of a servant more so than we are about what can I get out of the service.
What can I get?
What can people give me from being in this position? What can I get out of it? More so than what can I offer myself to it. Read on.
Verse 11. But he that is greater among you shall be your servant, and whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased.
It said, whosoever shall do what?
Exalt himself shall be abased.
So it's never about me. It should never be about me. It should never be about my position, what title I have, what authority I possess, how I can direct people, or how I can escape the same criticism that other people have to be under. How I can use my position as a hiding place. I can use my position as an escape from judgment. It's actually the opposite. So the more I am, the greater that I am a servant. I mean, the greater I am, the more I am of a servant. I'm indebted to the people even that much more. I'm obligated to serve even that much more. So what people have done through this mishandling of leadership is to scatter what people think is spiritual. It has skewed the concept of a leader. You know, at a church now, you got some pastors, some sisters will cook a pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard this before. And they'll cook the pastor a pie. But this is what I've heard some pastors actually say. They'll bring you all. You a pastor at a church, you're gonna get all kind of freebies. They're gonna bring you pies. They're gonna bake you cakes. They're gonna bake you cookies because they're trying to work themselves up the ladder. And they're gonna do the pastors all these favors. But I've heard one pastor say, "Don't bring me no pie if you haven't made your husband a pie."
That's a real one.
That's
a real one right there.
That's real.
Because they understand why you're doing this. You mean that you're gonna bring me a pie on Sunday, but you had your husband in the house all week, but you ain't making one. But you'll perceive that people will give you favors when you're in that position. It comes with favors because it comes with that person of importance. And I feel special because I'm given to this person. Now I'm making it about this person getting the glory, not what I can do for the Most High. A good pastor will set people straight. Don't do this for me if you're not doing this for your own people. Because now you're trying to gain something out of this. Now you're trying to bribe me somehow. You're trying to petition me and skew my judgment. But if you're in a position for the right reason, you can recognize that, you know what, let me debase myself so that the glory of the Most High is what people exalt, not me. Read on.
And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased.
Go ahead.
And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted.
And whosoever shall humble himself shall be what?
Exalted.
Go ahead.
But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees.
Read on.
Hypocrites.
We what?
Hypocrites.
Now let's go back to Mark chapter 3 and read verse 6 one more time. And then let's get some understanding of these Pharisees. Mark chapter 3, read verse 5 and 6 one more time.
Mark chapter 3, verse 5. And when he had looked around about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their heart.
Go ahead. Why were these people hard that didn't want to heal the withered man's hand? Why were these Pharisees ready to incriminate him for violating the Sabbath? Why is that?
Because they wanted to be seen. They wanted to take some of the power from Yehoshua and be seen by men, and like we were talking about, work themselves up into I'm the man that called out Jesus and got him, that was me,
Right. That's right. It was me.
That's crazy.
So basically, I guess trying to fill in his spot, I'm the man you come to for everything, and you shouldn't have to go to anyone else. Come to me first before you go to anybody else, because chain of command is you come to me, then I'll go to the Lord type of thing.
Right. What else?
I'll say first of all they had been trying to corner him and discredit him and kind of move him over in the first, because they knew that he was the one that was always exposing them, so they already had fought and whatever.
Tried to set him up with the
they're just like, oh, here come this dude again.
And how was he exposing them?
He was opening
By
the actual followers' eyes. He was
basically
showing them what not to do,
doing
and telling them what they were doing wrong.
And you know why these Pharisees had this issue with him? Because they didn't get nothing out of it. See, if the way he was exposing them was that this healing has nothing to do with you.
No. That hurts. That hurts a guy like that.
Right.
Wow, yeah.
I heard
get
that
him for
spirit.
free.
You can get
We could have won off that.
I would have
You guys
charged.
could have benefited off
Free
that.
word.
I didn't get
Could
it
have
for
charged
free.
for that.
yeah.
Where is my glory?
Could have monetized that.
You could have made something out. You should have got something out of that, man.
Oh, man.
That withered hand was worth some shekels.
Yeah.
That withered hand could have brought some tithes in.
Could have took care of the church.
These two sheep.
We could have played on that a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. So it really wasn't about. It's almost like the doctor community. It's almost like the medical community when they're in the point of, we're not gonna make cures, buddy.
Yeah.
We're gonna treat symptoms.
That's right.
We're symptom treaters.
That's it.
We're not cures of the systemic.
But if you
issue.
got enough money,
That way,
we can. You can
Magic
cure-
Johnson had enough money.
Magic Johnson.
it prolongs the process, and time is money.
Yeah, and you're more of a committed, constituent of payment. you're a stretched out paycheck
Yeah.
for a person that's not in the business of actually healing you.
Exactly.
Now I can string you along.
Exactly.
Insurance. I can say come back again. Come back in 30 days and let me check you back out again in 30 days. Right now, I'm just doing a checkup in 30 days and come back every 30 days so I can take some blood work. Or I can take some. We can get your vitals again. Or we can do another X-ray. I'm not saying medicine is fruitless. What I'm saying is people will use the insurance. They'll use the advantage of the fact that you have insurance and exploit that insurance for the sake of making the hospital. I say these hospitals are constantly rebuilding themselves. Got new equipment. They got new laboratories. They got new X-ray machines. They got all these things that's coming from insurance companies.
Building extra wings.
You getting kickbacks.
You could be sick.
80 more rooms.
You could have strep throat and you could barely talk. But after the nurse comes in, who always comes into your room?
Insurance.
The insurance.
They're tied in together.
You can sign this real quick.
They come in with the rolling cart with the computer on it.
Yeah.
And they say, I know you ain't feeling too good. I just need to get some quick information from you.
You haven't seen what the
I haven't even got healed yet.
Real quick.
I haven't even got healed yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even come in when you're in triage. You ain't even got a room yet. You didn't even get assigned to a bed or a room.
They taking your vitals.
Yeah, you just got in the hospital and they already come in and say,
lift your hand?
Yeah.
Sign this real quick.
You know,
We'll be out of the way.
y'all look at them like this.
Blink.
I guess I'll come back.
And if you ever had insurance opposed to not having insurance, they'll treat you two different ways.
God.
Yeah.
You're gonna get treated two different ways. And starting with your time to be sick.
If you have insurance,
Man, you get sick
we're
like
working
that.
on a bed for you now. We're getting
Yeah.
you a room.
Oh yeah.
And
Everybody's
then
smiling.
you get room, and then you get the menu served on the little tray. You can order food. You can order
Man, I
food.
had insurance one time, man. This dude couldn't stop cheesing. He couldn't stop cheesing while he was telling me all the benefits and getting things ready. And I was like, man, boy, that insurance is something else after he left.
It changes the treatment, man. They said when you don't have insurance, they will dictate to you, especially at a community hospital.
Mhm.
They'll tell you what they're going to do to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they direct your treatment when you don't have insurance.
That's real deal.
But when you have insurance, you tell them what you need
Uh-huh.
and what you want, and it's a whole different system. And they talk to you with a chip on their shoulder. We're the ones in charge.
Yeah.
We're the ones that have the treatment. So you're gonna abide by this treatment plan that we put upon you, and this diet that we give you. And then when you tell them, listen, I understand the majority. I'm at a community hospital, but I do have some insurance. So we're gonna go get some lab work done. I want an X-ray. I want a swallow study. I want blood work. I want all this. They're looking at you like you can't afford all this.
Yeah, there's extras. There's extras.
Yeah.
But the bad thing about this, man, is that I see when leaders get like that, they pass that culture on to other people for when they get in leadership. They doing the same thing. And not only that, go from country to country. I think this westernized United States have passed a lot of stuff on to different countries, and now they're doing it. You know,
and that's what a doctor of the law is for. Same thing we're talking about in medicine. The Pharisees are doctors of the laws as well. They're there to as certain individuals that will intercede for a person to gain the Most High's favor. Okay, you've done this crime. This is what you're going to need to do. We're going to have to sacrifice these animals in order for the Most High to get back pleased with you. This is what it's going to cost. We have to sacrifice these animals for the Most High to now forgive you and pardon your sins, and to get back on your side. So, but you had your hand up, Adam. You were saying something? I'm sorry.
You already hit it.
Okay. So when you say about how the Most High that the medical industry may pass on this culture, but this is the same issue. This same culture exists in the church. And this is why Christ has a problem with that. I know Mawala was reading, but somebody can pick up where Mawala had. He was in Matthew chapter, hold that in Mark. He was in Matthew chapter 23. And read verse 11.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 11. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant.
Go ahead.
And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased.
Read on.
And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted.
Now that should be the culture.
Yeah.
That is the culture what Christ is explaining right here. But that's not what the Pharisees was about. Read on.
But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men.
Because you allow men to misinterpret what it means to advocate for righteousness. You misinterpret and skew the position. You defile the position of leadership. Read on.
For ye neither go in yourselves,
It said, and because of it, you're not going in yourself. Read on.
neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in.
And you also allow other people to misinterpret and not be able to identify what it means to serve the Most High. It's not about what you get out of the deal. It's not about what you gain. It's not about how much you get out of it, the notoriety, the honor, the prestige, the fame, the treatment, the perks. Rabbi, master, pastor, Father Mike, Father Lewis. It's not about the title. He says you actually prevent other people from going in because you're passing down the wrong influence. And that's the problem that Christ has. And this influence, people have had this influence for a long time. Meaning, I'll serve the Most High for the wrong reason. Matter of fact, let that go in Mark. And somebody go to 2 Peter chapter 2 and start at verse 8.
Second Peter chapter 2 and verse 8.
Matter of fact, jump down to start at verse 12. Let's get to the point.
Verse 12. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed.
The Most High got something for these individuals that pass down the wrong culture. He says, made to be taken and destroyed. Read on.
Speak evil of the things that they understand not.
Read on.
And shall utterly perish in their own corruption.
They will perish in their own corruption, which when you go back to Matthew 23, somebody pick up on Matthew chapter 23, read verse 34. Somebody else. Not you.
Verse
23 and 34.
I got it.
Read that.
Matthew chapter 23, verse 34. It says, wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets, and wise men, and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify.
He says, I've sent to you prophets, wise men, scribes, good examples, and some of them shall ye crucify, ye scourge, you crucify. Read on.
And some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues.
Read on.
And persecute them from city to city.
Read on.
Verse 35. That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth.
What Christ is telling the Pharisees is, when it's judgment time, He's going to take all the unrighteous deeds that has ever been done, that goes all the way back to the beginning of time, and He's going to lay it on fake leaders' shoulders. That's dangerous, bro. That's scary. He said, for all the blood that's ever been shed, I'm going to punish you for it. And you're going to be accountable for all the bloodshed that's ever been on earth from the beginning of time.
Wow.
Read on.
Middle of verse 35. From the blood of the righteous.
It says from the blood of the righteous being who? Read on.
Abel.
From all the way back to Abel.
Wow.
The Most High is going to hold you accountable because the spirit that was in you was equivalent to the spirit that was in Cain. And we're going to read what spirit that was in Cain. What was the spirit that was in Cain? Go to Jude chapter 1, and I want you to read verse 11.
Jude chapter
Somebody
1.
else read, because I want you to hold where you're at in Peter.
Jude chapter 1, or Jude verse 11.
Verse 10, read verse 10.
Jude and verse 10.
But these speak evil of those things which they know not.
Same thing we just read in Peter. He said these individuals speak evil of things they don't understand. Just like they wanted to put Christ to death for healing a man on the Sabbath. Not understanding that it's about the people, not about praise. Read on.
It says, but what they know naturally.
But what they know naturally as what?
As brute beasts.
Go ahead.
And those things they corrupt themselves.
And how do they corrupt themselves?
It says,
read on.
woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain.
Wow.
It says, how do they corrupt themselves?
They have gone in the way of Cain.
Because they duplicated the actions of Cain.
Wow.
So if I duplicate the actions of Cain, all of the blood that Cain has spilt will be on my shoulders. I'll have to suffer for it.
After they die?
Yes,
or while they're on earth.
Even after he's explaining in the judgment. There's a punishment, there's a special punishment reserved for people who duplicated the actions and the errors of Cain. And what he's saying is, he's saying that if I take upon the wrong posture as one that's preventing people to understand what me being spiritual is, which is about me being a servant to the people, if I'm scattering the flock by having the wrong example, the Most High is going to put the punishment that Cain deserved on me. I'm guilty of that blood that was spilt, of Abel's blood that was spilled.
Right.
Because what was it about? What was the error of Cain? He's going to explain. What was Cain's error? Read on.
And ran greedily.
Cain did what?
And ran greedily after the error of Balaam.
It says, and ran greedily after the error of what?
Balaam for reward.
Balaam also for what?
For reward, and perished in the gate.
No, it says for reward, right? The error of Cain, it wasn't about doing what the Most High wanted me to do. It wasn't about me satisfying the wishes of the Most High. It was about I'll serve the Most High for what I can get out of it. That was the error of Cain from the beginning of time. The same spirit that be in the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the so-called leaders at the time in Matthew 23, that Christ said these are hypocrites, because you're not there for the purest intention. You're there for the purpose of gaining something out of the deal. You want something from this position, but it's not the execution of the will of the Father.
Right.
And that's the issue. The biggest problem Most High got with this spirit that we're reading about, that hypocritical spirit of leadership, is the fact that I'm doing it for something. I have a reason behind. My motives are wrong. And because when you look at Cain, the Most High told Cain what? Hold this real quick. Somebody else go to Genesis. I know you got Jude, right? Oh no, you got Peter. You got Jude, right? You got Jude. And what you got? Matthew.
I'm still in Matthew.
You was holding my water spot, right? Go to Genesis. And start at verse 6. No, verse 5.
Which chapter?
Genesis chapter 4, verse 5.
4.
No, verse 4. Really, just to kind of explain this point. Genesis chapter 4, verse 4. You can read that.
Come. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 4 reads, and Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock.
He served the Most High with the purest intention. It was about, you know what, let me execute the will of the Father. I'm going to give him my best. The best of what I have to offer. The best of what the Most High has blessed me with. Read on.
He also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof.
Go ahead.
And the Lord had respect.
And the Most High had what?
Had respect.
For what?
Unto Abel.
Why?
And to his offering.
Why?
But unto Cain.
Why did the Most High have respect unto Abel's offering?
Because he did what he was told.
Because his intention was pure.
And he gave to him. He gave to the Most High first. He didn't pay himself first, and then gave what he could afterwards.
Right. He took care of the Most High first, and then he was able to take whatever was remaining is what he kept. But he offered the firstlings of his flock to the Most High. It's about the Most High getting his glory first. Whatever comes after that, I receive. The Most High is first in my list of priority. Read on.
God. And unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain,
read on.
And to his offering he had not respect.
And why didn't the Most High have respect for Cain's offering? Read on.
And Cain was very wroth.
He was angry. Why? Read on.
And his countenance fell.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Cain.
Now the Most High told him the answer. You don't have to stay in this state of depression. Here's the solution. Read on.
Why art thou wroth?
Go ahead.
And why is thy countenance fallen?
Go ahead.
If thou doest well.
Hold on. What was the response?
If thou doest well.
What does it mean? He didn't give us the specifics of what it means to do well, but what was it that Abel was doing?
Giving the firstling of his flocks to the Most High first.
He was putting the Most High first.
Right, bottom line.
So we know he didn't give the specific to Cain what it means to do well, but we just read what it was to do well. What it meant to do well was, am I putting the Most High first in everything that I do? Or do I put what I want first? And then the Most High second.
Come.
For this reason, the Most High rejected the offering of Cain. Because it wasn't about the Most High's will, it was about my will. It's about what I wanted. Read that again.
If thou doest well.
If thou doest well, read on.
Shalt thou not be accepted?
It says, will you not be accepted? Will I not honor your offering and bless and have respect to your offering? Go ahead.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
So now is the Most High first. So let that go. You can let that go in Genesis. Go back to where you was at in Jude. Who had that in Jude?
Con, right here.
Good. Go ahead.
Jude, verse 11. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain.
And how did Cain? What way was Cain going in?
Being selfish.
He was putting himself first. When I serve the Most High, I put myself first over the Most High and over what He wants. And it's the same thing that the Pharisees were doing. They were putting themselves first. They were putting their position first, their image first, their notoriety first, their prestige first, their reward first. They sat in the high seats. It was about their glory first. He said, but they ran greedy. They said that in the era of Cain, and what else?
And ran greedily after the era of Balaam.
And ran greedily after the era of who?
Balaam.
Now, what does that mean when he says they ran greedily after the era of Balaam? I just want you to get this is the Ungers. It should be right here in the Ungers, right?
Huh.
So read this right here. Just get this. Let me get to it real quick.
I got it right here on some Harper's.
Right. Okay. Read this right here. Read this point right here. The era of Balaam. Why did Jude come back and tell us about not walking after the way of Cain and after walking after the way of Balaam? Read that right there.
The era of Balaam was the diviner's prophet's mistake in concluding.
It was the diviner's prophet. So Balaam was a diviner and a prophet that told the Moabites how to weaken the children of Israel. And he was hired by the Moabite king, Balak, to curse us. But he ended up blessing us instead because that was the Most High's duty. But he's telling you what that era was. What was Balaam's era? Read that right there.
Concluding on the basis of natural morality that the Most High must righteously curse the nation, Israel, seeing the evil in it. He was ignorant of the higher morality of the cross, through which the Most High enforces an awful sanction of His law.
Go ahead.
At the same time manifesting His grace, so that He can be just and a justifier.
So what that's saying is that he automatically assumed that because the Most High, if Israel would be sinners, that was the only way to guarantee the weakness of the children of Israel. That if you allow these people to sin, if sin is found amongst them, then that's the only way you'll weaken them and you'll be able to exploit them. But he wasn't looking at both sides. But he also did this for money. He did this for reward. Exactly. Read on.
It says the way of Balaam.
It says the way of Balaam. Why Balaam was telling the Moabites about what would weaken the nation of Israel? when you bring sin amongst the people, the Most High will depart from them. Read on.
Is the covetous conduct.
It's the what?
Covetous conduct.
I do this for what?
Covetous.
I do this for something that I get out of it.
Self-gain.
It's self-gain. He says the way of Balaam, the reason he was divining or prophesying, because there was something behind it that he was getting out of it. It was an ulterior motive. There's something I'm prophesying. I'm prophesying the word of the Lord because I want something from it.
Come.
And that's the error of Balaam. That's the error of Cain. I'm serving the Most High because it's something that I want out of it. It's not about me being here for the purpose of the people or executing the will of the Most High. It's about what can I get out of doing this.
The covetous conduct of the typical hireling prophet.
It says, but that mentality is a hireling mentality. What's a hireling? Somebody give me the definition of hireling. Somebody grab that definition. Don't say it, just grab the definition. What is a hireling?
Hireling, a mercenary.
A what?
A mercenary.
Go ahead.
A prostitute.
A prostitute. Damn. Man, that's heavy right there. A mercenary, a prostitute. Go ahead.
Serving for wages.
I serve for what?
Wages.
So Balaam was a prophet for what?
Wages.
Cain was a servant for what?
Wages.
It wasn't about the Most High. It was about what can I get out of doing this. I'm not serving the Most High unless I get something out of the deal.
Wow.
So those are excuses, really.
Those are my intentions. Those are my motivations behind why do I do what I do for the Lord. I'm only doing what I'm doing for the Most High because I'm gaining something from it.
There's a gain associated.
There's a gain associated with it.
If it wasn't that, I wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
This ain't gonna be my job.
Exactly. And that's why the title of the class is called Holding Experience Hostage. Because I'm not going to share myself or give myself to the people unless I get what?
Something out of it.
Unless I get something out of it.
I got better things to do with my time.
Yeah, because if there's nothing to gain for me out of me serving the Lord personally, then I'm not going to do it. And that's the error of Cain. That's the error of Balaam.
Wow.
Read that. Yes, sir. What you got,
You want to
Bob?
hear a definition? It's an extended definition of hireling.
Well, I like what he gave right there. Prostitute and what else?
Mercenary.
A mercenary.
For
What
wages.
else?
I got the definition for a prostitute. What was the
No,
word?
I understand.
Serving for wages, employed for money or other compensation.
And what is the compensation that a Pharisee receives? Notoriety, position, honor, authority, glory,
Money.
rank,
Class.
appearance, separation.
Weren't they
I get to be distinguished.
Strength.
Yeah, being distinguished.
Were they
is important.
collecting too?
Yeah, they
Was it money?
collected the tithes too, but they collected tithes, but they only tithe cumin. Cumin seeds are real tiny. Go to Whole Foods and look at a bag of cumin seeds. Them they're like little mustard seeds, man. They'll tithe that, and they had a lot to give, but they would look at what other people tithe. But other people, they were tithing really 10% of what they had and more, but they would just give the smallest little bit. Anise is fennel seeds, man, little small fennel seeds, tiny. Yes, sir.
You were saying the things that they gained out of it, and you were giving examples. You named the notoriety. Could you name a few others, just so I can understand, like, the characteristics of this selfish gain?
Right. And we'll explain that, because what it is that we kind of read it already before you got here. So when you get a chance, go back and read the beginning of Matthew 23, and he'll explain what it is that they were gaining out of it. They were getting greeted in the markets with being called master, rabbi. They had the appearance of being clean on the outside. You know what I'm saying? So when you get a chance, go back and just read that top half of Matthew 23, and it'll tell you what they were gaining out of it on a personal level.
Okay.
But the error in the way of Balaam is that what does that mean?
It says the way of Balaam is the covetous conduct of a typical hireling prophet.
It's a
solicitous
typical hireling prophet, solicitous
only
for what?
to commercialize his gift.
Only to commercialize what? His gift. That
His
means
office.
that means that I'm turning this into a business. I'm turning the position of a leader into a what? To a business, bro.
Something profitable.
Being a prophet is a business. It's not about serving the Lord. Just like some churches, mega churches have become what? It's a business. You got direct deposits. You got ATM machines in the back of the church. They're demanding 20% of a tithe versus 10. It's a business now. Tax exempt. And then also, the more you tithe in the church, the more you move up the ladder within the church. I never forget when Holyfield, I believe that was when he was in Creflo Dollar's church. Whatever church Evander Holyfield would go to, but he blew that. Was it Creflo Dollar? When he blew that 300 million? When he blew, Holyfield made 300 million in his career.
Right.
And he had the largest house in the United States on the southeastern side of the United States. Holyfield had the largest home.
I didn't know that.
In the entire U.S. on the southeastern part of the United States.
Oh, okay.
It said that it took $100,000 a month to cut his grass to keep his lawn.
Come on, bro.
That's how he had a when you go to Holyfield house, he had a dining room table that could fit 100 people.
That's ridiculous, man.
But
he ran out of money.
when all that was lost, you know, Rick Ross bought Holyfield house, just in case you want to know.
Oh, okay.
Who got that house? Rick Ross bought that house.
Probably did that video in his house.
He did. He did. And
I
also,
knew that was out of his.
he rent his house out for movies too. You know, he makes money off that house.
Oh,
But
okay.
when Holyfield used to give tithes to the church, before he lost that money, Holyfield was up on the first row. But we go back and read this. When Holyfield went broke, they came and removed him from the first row.
That's cold-blooded.
They removed him from being up close to the pastor. He lost his seat.
No way.
Yes.
He didn't get
Oh,
no
look.
credit for what he did before.
All that didn't
Oh,
count,
you ain't doing it
man.
no
You're
more.
not bringing that. You don't get to sit up front in the front row to the
Wow.
elder.
I ain't been to church in a long time.
Because you're not giving what you used to give. You don't got it. So I've commercialized the position of leadership.
Wow.
I've commercialized my service for the Most High. It's a business transaction. I'm not going to do the work of the Most High unless I'm getting something out of it. Yes, sir.
Just thinking back on Genesis 4 when the Most High said, "Why art thou wroth when thou doest well?" Like, you're doing good. Why are you mad when I'm only asking for a tenth? Like, you're running a business, a business transaction here. Like, and I'm not getting nothing out of it. Like, this is why am I here?
You know, because when you look at business transactions, you're looking at profit and loss. You're looking at the bottom dollar. You're looking at overhead. And these are things and numbers these are things that you're considering when you're running a business.
Buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high. Is multiple streams of income. You're using all this business analogy, but you're doing it for the service of the Lord. If I can get 200 people in my congregation at 10% of each one of their wages, now I'm looking at people like numbers. I'm not even looking at their real issues. I'm not even looking at, am I there to heal their problems? I'm looking at, let's get the church numbers up. Let's get out there and do some fundraisers, because we got to get some money in the building. I'm monetizing the church, and I'm monetizing. They just said right now that out of St. Gerard Catholic School here in San Antonio, on the east side, predominantly black and Hispanic side of town, that has been in operation for 76 years. They're closing their doors because only 23 students signed up for St. Gerard Catholic High School. So their numbers are getting affected.
Right.
So now they're closing the school up after 76 years.
And not in it for the business.
It's not there. They're not there for education. It's about money, because that's a private school. When you go to private school, you pay private school prices. But what does a Catholic school got to do with charging people for education? If it's really about the education of the people.
And Catholics have money, bro.
They got money.
Right.
They have money. It's all a business.
Mhm.
They've monetized and commercialized the service of God. And this is what this was evident way back. This was the spirit that was in Cain. This was the spirit that was in Balaam. This is the spirit that was in the Pharisees and the Sadducees. It was all about numbers and business and profit. It wasn't about actual healing of the people. It wasn't about actually serving the Lord for the appropriate, right, correct reason. And that's why he said that, finish that in Jude.
Son, Jude, verse 11. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam.
Which is for what?
For reward.
For what?
For reward.
I'm only going to serve the Lord if I get what?
Reward.
If I get a reward out of it. I'm not going to serve the Lord unless I'm getting rank, unless I'm getting position, unless I'm getting notoriety, unless I'm getting exalted, if I'm getting recognized, if I'm receiving benefits,
Get a name.
I'm getting a name, I'm getting honor, I'm getting a title. If I'm not getting none of this, why am I doing it? Then this makes no sense. Because there's nothing beneficial there for me personally. I can't insert a personal agenda within the service of the Lord. And if I can't do that, then I'm not going to serve the Most High.
I refuse.
I refuse. And this is why I'm wroth. This is why Cain was wroth. And because that spirit has been on the earth for a long time. And there's nothing new under the sun. Because that spirit is there. This is why Christ said, now go back and read that. And hold that in Jude. Now go back in Matthew 23, whoever was holding it. And read verse
We're in
34.
37? Okay, back to 35.
No, read 35.
You need my glasses, brother?
Matthew, I got them, but I
Oh, okay.
didn't
Okay.
bring them. Again, I just bought another pair. I got it though. I got the big letters. Matthew chapter 23, verse 35. That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth.
So the Most High is going to cause the judgment and the penalty to be paid by everyone who's possessed that spirit. And they got it. The blame, the payment, the cost of all the righteous blood that was ever spilt for people that was doing the service of the Lord for the wrong intention. Wow. They got to pay for it.
That's the transaction.
That's the transaction.
Preachers got it bad too, you know. If they do bad, if they do wrong, I heard there's penalties for them. Oh, well, I heard that they get penalized. Maybe that is the penalty that is harsher than the normal average man.
You know what? That's way worse than anything that I could have ever received from a man.
Right.
For what the Most High has in store for anybody that does the service of the Lord for some gain.
Yeah.
For some reward.
Right.
Read on.
Middle of 35. From the blood of the righteous, Abel, unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar.
He said all these men that died by the hands of people that were hypocrites, that was in it for the wrong reason. Their blood's gonna be on these men's hands. Read on.
Verse 36. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation.
It says he gonna bring it on whose generation? This generation. So they gotta suffer for not having the right intention, not having the purest intention for serving the Lord. Finish that in Jude.
Come, Jude, verse 11 from the top. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Korah.
And they perished for the gain. Why did Corey, which is Dathan and Korah, why did they speak against Moses? That's in here too. Matter of fact, it gives an excellent explanation of why Dathan and Korah had spoke against Moses in here. Excellent.
They wanted to hear from the Lord himself and not through Moses.
Why though?
So that they can benefit from it. They can find a way to benefit from it.
Let's hear their justification, because their justification is worth noting and reading about real quick. Read their justification right here. This is Unger's Bible Dictionary. And read, I think it's going to, it gives an excellent breakdown of why they were doing what they were doing. It's in, hold on, let me get it real quick. It's been a while since I read it. All right, read this. Basically what it's saying is this. They said that because of our age, they were Reubenites. They said we're honorable, we're elders, we have money, and our money could do the people a better job. So it's only fair because we're older than you, because Moses and Aaron was younger. We're older than you, and we actually they were Levites, but they came from a priestly family. They were of more notoriety. They had more wealth accumulated. They were elders, so they said that our position, our title, would better suit the people. So they said that why should you tell us what to do when we had financial advantage over you and we're older than you? We should be in a better esteem. Why should we listen to the younger generation? So it wasn't about what the Most High considered and what the Most High chose. It was about how they felt. It was about their personal agenda that they were trying to fulfill by being in charge over the people. So it was an envy that was involved with Dathan and Korah that caused them to speak, because they weren't getting the glory. They were envious of the glory and of the leadership that Moses and Aaron had over the people. They had their reasons, but ultimately it was the fact that how come you get to direct the people versus us? We're better suited as leaders than you are. And he said that's the era of Korah. So it explains it here, but we ain't found it yet. But go ahead and read that.
Verse 12. These are spots.
I got pulled up. It says Korah right here, son of Izhar, son of Kohath, led a rebellion against Moses. Numbers 16 and 17. Its story is told in two layers of the document written in different eras. The earlier shows Korah leading 250 prominent leaders of the congregation against Moses and Aaron, the people versus the tribe of Levi, and later tells of Korah heading 250 Levites expressing the opposition of the tribe of Levi to the priesthood of Aaron. So it's about politics also. It's a political situation. If I'm not getting the political advance and the political momentum, and to my benefit, then I'm not serving the Most High either. Because we know politics is not about the people.
No.
It's about the perception of serving people more than it is about serving people.
Right here, the reason for the conspiracy is right here.
The reason for the conspiracy. Korah was probably influenced by jealousy.
Was probably influenced by what?
Jealousy.
Go ahead.
Because of the high honors and privileges of the priesthood.
It was a high honor and a what?
Of the priesthood.
How come you get the privileges of being in charge? You know how much that bothers people? For us to say, I don't think you deserve to be over me. That really bothers people more than what people say. They may hide their real feelings on the inside, but they got a problem with themselves feeling like you're not qualified to be leader over me. And also you get to receive the benefits, because the basis of it is you get the privileges. You get to dictate. You get to point the finger. You get to tell people what to do. You get to exclude yourself. That's the idea. So a lot of people have issues when somebody else who they feel like shouldn't be qualified to be over them as a leader. And it bothers them. And that same mentality is what sparked the rebellion. I want the reward out of what it means to be a leader. Not more so the execution of the will of the Father, but I want to reap the benefits. Read on.
It says they have been exclusively appropriated by the family of Aaron, Moses having supreme authority in the civil affairs. The whole power over the nation would seem to have been engrossed by him and Aaron. the particular grievance which the rank led
which is the rank led. Go ahead.
in the minds of Korah and his company was their exclusion.
Was there what?
Their exclusion.
Because you exclude me, you're excluding us from the position of authority. You get to make the decisions and we don't. And if I don't get to make the decisions, then I'm gonna have a problem with my service to the Most High.
Even though they knew God was talking to Moses the whole time?
Right.
Wow.
And that the Most High had appointed Moses and Aaron as the leaders.
People be crazy, man.
But he's showing you they're crazy in their worship.
Right.
If I don't get to make the decisions, if I don't get a gain out of it,
Right.
and if I can't commercialize it, if I can't get no honor, no respect out of it, I don't want to participate in it.
Right. Wow.
Because I can't see myself receiving any personal benefits. Read on.
Right.
It says their exclusion from the office of priesthood and their being confined, those among them who were Levites, to the inferior service of the tabernacle.
He said, man, you're not going to put us on tabernacle duty. Now, you're not going to put us on candles and lighting incense. Man, we're better than that.
People dying up in there.
So he's showing you what corrupted our people. Now let that go in Jude. You can let that go. You can let that go in Matthew. Finish that in 2 Peter.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 12. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not.
Go ahead.
And shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness.
They shall receive the reward of unrighteousness. Go ahead.
As they that count it pleasure to riot in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes.
Jump down to 15. No, 14.
Verse 14. Having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls.
Go ahead.
In heart they have exercised with covetous practices.
It says their heart has been exercised with what?
With covetous practices.
And this is the problem that Christ had with the Pharisees. It was all about what I can get out of the position of being a leader. What can I gain from it?
I want to extract something from this.
I want to extract something from the position. And if I can't extract something from the position of serving the Most High, then I'm not going to serve the Most High. I'm not going to execute His will. Read on.
Cursed children, which have forsaken the right way, and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam,
which we know what Balaam was about. Read on.
The son of Basor.
Go ahead.
Who loved the wages of unrighteousness.
Who loved what?
The wages of unrighteousness.
Because I'd rather not serve the Most High at all if I can't get something out of the deal. If I can't get nothing out of the deal, then I just won't serve the Most High at all. So what do people do when they know that they're supposed to serve the Lord, but because they're not getting anything from it, what is their next course of action? Anybody know?
Of course they will.
They can, but they'll be unhappy.
Rebel, yeah.
Rebel how?
Rebel by not participating anymore, by not partaking.
Yeah. So I exempt myself. What else? Because I'm not going to be in the lower forms of administration like Dathan and Korah was talking about. You're not going to put us on ashtray duty.
Attack the leadership. Attack the ones in charge.
They'll attack the leadership, ones in charge. What else?
They'll end up being Pharisees and scribes.
Okay. What else do regular people do?
Turn against each other or get each other's
Or,
I think it would have definitely affected people.
Stir up strife.
Stir up strife. Well, yeah, that's one thing. What else?
Conspire against them.
Go to Haggai chapter 1. Read verse 6. Start at verse 4. Start at verse 4.
Haggai, chapter 1 and verse 4. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
It is time for you.
Is it time for you?
Is it time for you?
Go ahead.
O ye, to dwell in your concealed houses.
Go ahead.
And this house lie waste.
What do people do when they don't, what do people do when they can't reap the benefits of serving the Lord?
They quit.
What do? Read it again.
Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses?
What do people do?
To dwell in your sealed houses.
What do people do when they can't serve the Lord and get no reward out of it?
Retreat.
They retreat where?
And they conceal houses.
And they go back home.
Mm-hmm.
And they do what?
They stay there.
They stay at home. And I start investing into my home. My home becomes more important than the work of the Lord, because when I do the work of the Lord, I'm not getting anything from it.
So let me work on my house.
So let me work on my house.
Mhm.
So what the Most High says is, okay, well, is it time for that? Is it time for you to not do what you know you should do,
Mhm.
because you're not getting anything personally from it, for the sake of now putting back into your personal possession and property?
I'm gonna get a benefit some kind of way.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna go ahead and do this to take care of my crib.
I'm gonna put more into my own personal. My personal business is more important now.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So I was watching this one movie, I think it's called The Battle Room. And long story short, so she goes to church every day, pays her tithes, pays her dues, but this life things happen where she gets cancer. And she goes to the battle room and she asks God, why did you force this upon me? And I guess God didn't answer within her timing. So she just goes to the church and tells them that I'm not coming no more, just to let y'all know. She just stays in her house. So the pastor hears word about it. He goes and tells her, and she was like, you know what? You and God could get out of my house. So
Wow.
Yeah, it gets real like that at times when people don't get what they want.
You know, and if you were to ask the Most High, if she was to ask the Most High, I like what you said right there. Go to Jeremiah real quick. If she got cancer, and you know it affected her belief, you know, and she changed her position, the Most High tell you why he do what he does, man. Go to Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 10. Somebody start at verse 10.
Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 10.
Read that.
And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words.
It says it's going to come to pass that when you show the children of Israel all these words, read on.
And they shall say unto thee.
And they shall ask you. He's talking to Jeremiah. He's telling Jeremiah that the time is going to come when the people are going to come to you, Jeremiah. And they shall ask you what?
Wherefore hath the Lord pronounced all this great evil against us?
Why I got cancer? Why I got these things happening to me? I pay my tithes. I go to church. I do what I do what's right. I try my best, but these things happen to me. Read on.
Or what is our iniquity?
Or what is it? What is our sin that we deserve this treatment? Read on.
Or what is our sin that we have committed against the Lord our power?
What have we done wrong to where the Most High would allow these things to happen? Read on.
Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord.
He said, because you're paying for the sins of who?
Your fathers.
The Lord.
No.
Your fathers.
You're paying for the sins of your fathers. Some of us are still paying for the sins of our fathers. Read on.
And have walked after other gods.
Which have walked after other gods. Read on.
And have served them. And have worshipped them.
It said, go ahead.
And have forsaken me. And have not kept my law.
Read on.
And ye have done worse than your fathers.
And if it's not for the reason that I'm suffering for the sins of my forefathers, he says it's also because it's possible that I've done worse than my forefathers. What's worse than suffering for what your forefathers have done? What's a worse sin? Read on. In the eyes of the Most High. Read on.
For, behold, you walk every one after the imagination of the evil heart.
He says,
of his evil heart.
You walk after the imagination of what?
Of his evil heart.
You try to decide what's right. You try to dictate. When we try to dictate what we feel is right, I'm going to do what I want to do. I know what the Most High wants me to do, but this is about me. I make the decisions here. That's why the lady said, what? You and God, get out of my house.
Yeah.
I make the decisions here. It's my house. He said, that's even worse than what your fathers have done. Anytime you try to dictate your direction, your actions, your behavior, every time you try to create your own agenda, the Most High said, this is another reason why he'll bring the hammer down on you. Because that's worse than what your fathers did. It's one thing to worship another deity, and it's another thing to worship your own mind.
Yeah.
That's a whole other issue. Worship your decisions. That's horrible. Read on.
That they may not hearken unto me.
Read on.
Therefore will I cast you out of this land, into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers. And there shall ye serve other gods day and night.
You're going to serve Columbia. You're going to serve Jupiter.
Yeah.
You're going to serve Janus, January.
Yeah.
You're going to serve, Saturday, Saturn's Day. You're going to serve Friday, Frigga's Day, Thor's Day on Thursday. Woden's Day on Wednesday. Now you're going to serve gods that you got to abide by gods and call everything about your servitude is going to be to an idol, since you want to serve idols. Everything you do is to an idol.
And don't forget they got that guy that'll come up in your house and cause havoc.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Then you're serving Christmas. And then Saturnalia. Now you're worshiping the god of Saturn. When you worshiping Christmas, do Saturnalia. All these things, the Most High said, you don't want to serve me. This is what got us to America to begin with. Doing what I want to do, not giving the Most High his due. So what the Most High says is this. Back to Haggai. Finish that in Haggai chapter 6. How dwell ye in your what?
Haggai chapter 6.
In one verse 6.
Haggai chapter 1 and verse 6. Ye have sown much.
No, read up a little bit. Jump. I think you start at verse 4.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
It is time for you, O ye.
Is it time for you?
Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses?
Because that's what people do when they don't get what they want from the Lord. They just internalize their actions, and they just become about their own personal business. I retract from my service to the Most High, and I make my house my business. There's a lot of people say, well, you know what? I tried the church thing. I don't believe in the Most High, so I just take care of my kids. I take care of my family. I pay my bills, and I just take care of my house. But the Most High has an issue with that also. Read on.
And this house lie waste?
Read on.
Now therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much, and bring in little.
He says, but you got to consider why life is becoming a struggle. The reason why life gets very difficult is because our priorities are not aligned appropriately. Instead of me thinking about what my duty and my job is to serve the Most High on a daily basis, somehow I try to intervene and interject my own personal business in the mix, my own personal agenda in the mix.
I'm not going to do nothing.
Or I'm not going to do nothing at all.
I can't intermingle, interweave my activities and my pleasures and my benefits in the midst of service. Then I'm not going to serve.
Then I'm not going to serve. Then I'm going to restrain myself from actually giving. But the Most High said, well, I want you to consider this. Because when you hold yourself back and you start to make your house, your sealed house, your priority, and you start neglecting my house, he says, I start allowing things to come up short in your house. I start allowing a breakdown within your home. But he says, I'm only doing it so you can rethink and recalibrate your thought process about how you look at serving me. I want you to re-engineer your servitude towards me and think about why is it that you're working so hard, but what?
But ye have not enough.
But you still don't have enough to make it. You have survival money. You got survival food. You got survival gas.
And it can be gone at any minute.
You got enough just to get to work and back. If that. You got enough just to function. You barely got enough to function. The Most High said, I want you to think about this. Because you're not getting what you want out of the deal when you serve me. So you internalize everything and start serving your household. Now I'm going to make your house come up short. Now there's certain things that you're going to be missing within your own personal comforts. Read on.
Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink.
Man, it's like the Kool-Aid gone, the orange juice is gone, the apple juice is just water. And then you drinking tap water. You ain't even got bottled water money. I'm drinking tap water.
Just ain't the same.
It's not the same. But the Most High said He'll make sure that you come up short. Not only this, but if you have plans, if you have ideas of, you know what, I got a plan. I'm gonna go get this money up. I got some ideas. I'm gonna go, get myself together.
That's the perfect scheme.
I got a scheme. Whether I'm a scam, I'm a hustle, I'm gonna work hard. Go to Isaiah chapter 59, and I want you to read verse 6. Because we all feel like we got plan B.
Yep.
We got, you know what? If serving the Most High is not gonna work, I got another option.
It's in my last option. I'll be all right.
I'll be all right. I got to always keep.
I don't really need it. You need this.
Yeah.
I never needed this.
Yeah. I was straight. Always got a plan B or plan C. I got a backup plan. I'm never down and out. So for people that got an alternative, read on.
Their web shall not become garments.
It says their web shall not become what?
Garments.
What does that mean?
Clothes.
That means that you accumulated a lot of yarn, you accumulated a lot of cotton, you accumulated a lot of material because you thought that by you collecting material, you was going to be able to convert that material to what?
Garments.
To garments. What's a garment?
A cover.
A cover. It's a protection. He says all the things that you do as an alternative, as a plan B or C, as a backup plan, that you thought you were going to use as a protection. He says your web shall not become what?
Garments.
Go ahead.
Neither shall they cover themselves with their works.
And neither shall I cover myself with what?
Their works.
With their works. So what exactly?
Because when men of passion don't put their passion to the service of the body, the flock, the body, the nation, the people, the system, right? That passion has to flow somewhere.
Yep.
And it flows into their desires, their personal pursuits, and that they put their effort in their personal pursuits because it benefits them quicker.
Yes.
And they would the benefit of getting serving the body, and you wait by and by.
Yeah.
The benefit will come back on the back end.
It does.
That's a long process to get a benefit on the back end when you're serving the body.
Right.
But when you serve your personal pursuits, it's almost an instantaneous gratification the person gets. So I'm gonna put in more effort because I'm gaining more off the front.
That was the spirit of Cain.
Huh.
That was the spirit of Cain. When you read the Josephus about Cain, Cain cared about agitating the ground. He was using some type of stimulants, some type of fertilizer. He was agitating the ground. He was doing something to the ground to get more crops out the ground.
Right. Yield more.
To yield more.
Yeah.
Miracle growth.
He was using something, some miracle growth. He was agitating the ground in the Josephus, and he was all about production, about his own personal production. So what the Most High saying is, I won't let your web won't become garments. Meaning all the things that you're doing on the back end as an alternative, as a backup plan, it won't manifest. So all these different schemes and these alternative ways of surviving, I'm going to make them fail. He's going to put his hand on it. It's not going to come through. And that's why Cain was so angry. Because no matter how much he agitated the ground, it wouldn't yield. Because the Most High had his hand against it. Because his intention wasn't pure. Because he said, if thou doest well, will thou not be accepted? My intention has to be pure in everything that I do for the Most High. And if not, the Most High will put his hand against it. And this is why he's saying, I want you to think about this because I got my hand against you. Read on.
In Haggai?
Yep.
Haggai chapter 1 and verse 7 now. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Go up to the mountain and bring wood.
And bring wood. That means go to work. How do you get wood from the mountain? You got to go to work. First of all, you got to climb the mountain. Then you got to go cut the trees down to bring wood. For what purpose?
And build the house, and I will take pleasure in it.
It says, and put me first. That's what he's saying. Put me first. And I'll take pleasure in it. If you put me first. Read on.
And I will be glorified, saith the Lord.
Read on.
You looked for much.
He said, because you expect much. Go ahead. People expect much. Read on.
And, lo, it came to little.
He says it came to what?
To little.
It came to little. Why did I expect much, but it came to little?
Because he didn't put it first.
Wrong intention.
Because my intention wasn't pure. See, the Most High will fix your situation to where you always come up short. He'll fix your own personal situation where it's barely enough.
I've been there.
We there. Because he's doing it because he's trying to get your attention. He's trying to wake you up out of something.
Right.
Hey, make me the focus. Put me first. And it's a wake up call. But a lot of us ignore the wake up and we go double up and double down on our own personal pursuits.
Right.
Now I got to go do something extreme to make sure that I get what I need to get. Never mind the Most High. I adopt an extreme attitude and aggressive nature because I'm not happy. Because the Most High is not honoring my sacrifice. Because my intention is not pure. So therefore I'm being rejected in my service. And so all my plans are failing. Read on.
So the Most High gets scraps after that.
He gets
So
crumbs.
it's a sign of my agitation and my anger and my frustration that I give scraps to the Father. The scraps that men give the Most High is a sign, and that's how I feel about you.
Right. Exactly. I don't really believe in you. Read on.
And when ye brought it home, I did blow upon it.
The Most High will blow everything that you bring home. If the purpose and intention isn't pure. Read on.
Why?
Why?
Saith the Lord of hosts.
Why do I blow on everything you bring home? Why is that? Read on.
Because of mine house that is waste.
Because you won't put my house as what?
It's crazy.
The priority. Because you won't make me first. And why won't people make the Most High first? Based on what we read so far?
Because
They put themselves first.
Yeah,
They're
that's shortcuts
worried
because
about
it's
they're worried
faster.
about their game.
Because I don't get nothing out of it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Because that's why I don't
Serving
Yes.
the Most High. Okay.
Yes, because I won't give the Most High what He wants from me because I don't get nothing from it.
Come.
Right.
So the Most High, therefore, people they turn towards their own personal business, and the Most High blows on that. He blows on it like a deck of cards,
Right.
and the Most High shuts it down because they're not contemplating. Wait a minute, maybe the reason why I'm coming up short is because I'm not giving the Most High what He wants from me.
It's not me. No, it's not. It can't be me.
But it's hardly ever that.
Right.
What scripture is that, Karai?
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 47.
Read that.
It says, because thou servest not the Most High, thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things.
Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
So the Most High is going to make your enemy be the one that you have to go to be your provider. And we know how it comes when it's coming from our enemy. It's already cut down, taxed, stepped on, broken down,
Weaponized.
poisoned, contaminated, defiled, and then left over. Let that go. Finish that in Haggai.
Because of mine, because of mine house that is waste.
Read on.
And ye run every man unto his own house.
And ye run every man to what?
Unto his own house.
When I don't get what I want from serving the Lord, everybody runs naturally back to their own what?
Their own house.
They run back to their own house. and my personal business becomes my priority. And then the Most High blows on it. And then the Most High smashes it. Verse 15.
Verse 15. In the 24th day of this.
Yeah. Matter of fact, read verse. Let me get straight to the point. Verse 10. Read on down.
Therefore, the heaven over you is stayed from dew.
Therefore,
man.
the heaven over you is stayed from dew. Meaning, dew is what feeds the ground. That's what it brings nutrition to the crops. He says the Most High said, I'll make the crops dry. I'll dry out the crops. I'll dry out what you need to survive. Read on.
And the earth is stayed from her fruit.
Go ahead.
And I called for a drought upon the land.
Read on.
And upon the mountains.
Go ahead.
And upon the corn.
Read on.
And upon the new wine.
Go ahead.
And upon the oil.
Read on.
And upon that which the ground bringeth forth. And upon men.
Meaning the Most High said, I will make it hard for you to survive. He's attacking your ability to survive and to function. And he's doing it because he's trying to get you to see that you ran to your own business. You got to come back to serving me. Don't serve me because you're not getting what you want. That's the wrong intention. Serve me because I'm asking for it. Because it's right. Put me first. Don't be like Korah because you want notoriety. Dathan and Korah, you want position. Yep. Don't be like Balaam. You prophesy for reward. Don't be like Cain. You greedy for gain. Don't serve the Most High with these intentions. Serve the Most High for the sake of healing the people.
Yeah.
And if you serve the Most High for that reason, the Most High will always establish what you're doing. He will always bless you. And we know that from Matthew 6 and 33. It says what?
Put the Most High first.
What does it say?
Put the Most High first. You want us to get it?
Yeah, you just read it real quickly.
First the kingdom and his
Not everybody may know
all
it.
things should be
Yeah,
added.
6 and 33. Read that.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 33. Take therefore no thought for the morrow.
Now, verse 30 then.
Verse 30. Wherefore if the Most High so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven,
Right? Go ahead.
shall he not much more clothe you? Of ye, O ye have little faith?
Go ahead.
Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal?
No, verse 33.
It is 33.
It was 33. You read the wrong verse, bro. I know you confused me for a minute. I'm like, hold on, let me look at that. Go ahead, read that again.
Verse 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High, and his righteousness.
Go ahead.
And all these things shall be added unto you.
So the Most High will bless you with everything that you need if you put the Most High first. But if you don't put the Most High first, because you're not getting something out of it, the Most High will start blowing on your production and your survival. He'll start making your life very difficult to function. And he's doing it because he wants you to think about it. Why am I coming up short? Why am I working so hard and barely anything is coming in return? I'm not growing from it. It feels like I'm just pedaling, doggy pedaling in the middle of the ocean. I'm not making any progress.
Running in place.
I'm running in place. I'm like on a damn rat in a wheel, hamster wheel. Why is this? Because I haven't given the Most High what he wants from me off the top. And that's the main issue that a lot of people run into of why they don't serve the Most High with their whole heart. Because I don't get nothing from it. Read on. Let that go in Matthew. Go back to finish that in Haggai.
Middle of verse 11. Actually, I finished. No, actually. I'll just start over at 11. And
Yeah,
I
go
called for a drought upon the land.
Go ahead.
And upon the mountains. And upon the corn. And upon the new wine. And upon the oil. And upon that which the ground bringeth forth. And upon men. And upon cattle. And upon all the labor of the hands. Then Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Joshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest, with all the remnant of the people, obeyed the voice of the Lord their power, and the words of Haggai the prophet, as the Lord their power hath sent them. And the people did fear before the Lord.
Go ahead. Now stop right there. So, one more verse and we're going to end it. It's already 10 o'clock. 1 Corinthians chapter, matter of fact, 1 Corinthians chapter 16. and read verse 14.
Come on. 1 Corinthians chapter 16 and verse 14. Now you ready?
Read that.
Come.
Everybody got it?
Come.
Go ahead.
Come. Let all your things be done with charity.
And everything that you do, let it be done with what?
Charity.
For the sake of somebody else receiving the benefit. Everything that you do is about somebody else receiving the benefit and not you. It's not based upon what you're getting, especially when you serve the Most High. This is the mentality that the Most High will always bless. This is how you know you're doing the work of the Most High in Christ. It's when I do things not for reward, not for honor, not for rank, not for authority, not for position, not for prestige,
Not for glory.
not for glory, not for personal satisfaction as far as what can I gain, esteem that I get out of it. Everything that I do is about somebody else benefiting. And that's why I said, let all your things be done with what?
Charity.
Charity. Read on. And he's going to show you the mentality that Paul praises. Read on.
Come on. Verse 15. I beseech you, brethren, ye know the house of Stephanus.
He said, I want you to get to know the house of Stephanus. I want you to recognize the house of Stephanus. What is it about the house of Stephanus that I want you to pay attention to? Read on.
That is the first fruits of Ahiah.
Read on.
And that they have addicted themselves.
What did they do?
Addicted themselves.
He says they become addicts to what?
To the ministry of the saints.
They're addicted to the ministry of the saints. I want you to pay attention to this kind of household. Because this household is established by only what pertains to the benefits of the saints. They don't care about their own personal business. They don't care about their own personal pursuits or their own personal gains. He says they're addicted to the ministry of the what?
Saints.
Of the saints. You have to become addicted to the ministry of the saints. Ministry means to be a servant to. That means I got to be addicted to be a servant to the body of Christ. Not looking to gain something in return. And he says, read on.
That ye submit yourselves unto such.
And he says, and I only want you to follow people that do these same things in the church. That they're addicted to the ministry of the saints. These are the ones that you should recognize as leaders. And these are the ones that you should follow. Read on.
And to everyone that helpeth with us and laboreth.
It says because their example is appropriate. That's the kind of example that you want to use as a leader. That's what a leader is in Christ. Somebody who's about the charity and the benefit of the ministry of the saints. And they put the work in. And that they labor. And they're about giving and refreshing. Matter of fact, jump on down and read verse 18.
Verse 18. For they have refreshed my spirit and yours.
It says they're about the refreshment and the refreshing of the spiritual well-being of the people around him. Paul said these people's charity refreshed my spirit. They're about the benefit of the church, not themselves. Read on.
Therefore acknowledge ye them that are such.
It says therefore these are the ones that you recognize. These are the ones that you look at as an example to follow. People that are about refreshing the spirits of other people around them. Not for gain, not for glory, not for personal satisfaction, not for their own status, but for the work itself.
Not for flex sake.
Yeah, not for rank or position sake. Yes, sir.
Can I pull up a definition of those kind of people?
Egocentric, limited to or caring only about yourself and your own needs.
That's it. He says these are not the ones that you look up to. He says you look up to the house of Stephanas because they're addicted to the ministry of the saints. Anybody that's addicted to that, you follow them. This is what Paul is laying down as a foundational thought process. Not somebody that will withdraw themselves and hold themselves back from serving the Most High because they're not getting something out of it. Those you don't follow. That's That's who Christ has a problem with. So we're going to go ahead and end it with that. Any questions? I know it's kind of short, but any questions?
That's some powerful stuff, man. Y'all got some powerful stuff, man. It's real.
As far as like where it says holding experience hostage, is that saying holding these traits, holding back these characteristics that we should have, and keeping those in bondage?
What it's saying is that if I'm holding my experience hostage, meaning I have something to offer, but I won't offer it unless I'm getting something out of it.
Oh, okay.
That's what some people do.
Which is a real thing. That's an issue. That's a
heavy issue, especially in the church, especially in the body, especially in any camp.
It's a major thing. It's a major issue.
If I'm not getting something out of it, I'm going to limit what I can do. I'm going to limit my production. I'm going to limit my performance. I'm going to limit my productivity.
I'm limiting my services.
I'm going to limit my services because I'm not gaining something
Go to
from
my
it.
house.
And I'm going to put my focus on my house. And that's the natural course that people do when they withdraw themselves from serving the Most High appropriately. When that's not the example that the Most High Christ wants us to follow. The Most High, His house got to be first. What I do for Him is first, and it is irregardless of what I gain from it. So with that, we're going to say shalom, shalom to everybody that's watching.
Shalom.
And we're going to Amajibu Pun Wakadam, rise and face the east. Yahweh Shemel Shai, Abanawa, Bashamayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak with Ka, Ba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ratazah, Hayah, Bashamayim, Watananawa, Kham, Yawam, Basalachnawa, Wathnawa, Basalachnawa, Wathinawa, Wala'ah, Tabiyanawa, Wasawan, Abo, Shana, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Aka, Malakwa, Wa'ala, Wata Para, Bible Aman.
Yahweh, Bashum, Yoshai, no, Shalom, yeah, support, Bashum, Yoshai, no, Shalom, yeah, support, Bashum, Yoshai, no, Shalom, yeah, support, Bashum, Yoshai, no, Shalom, yeah, support,
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Glory Yahweh, Glory Yahweh Shai, all love, all mercy, all patience, all wisdom, all knowledge, all understanding, all power from Yahweh, all power from Yahweh, all power from Yahweh. In Yahweh Shai's name we pray. Water from Yah, Aman. All right, circle up. The scriptures say salute one another with a holy kiss. So we're just going to salute the brothers and then salute the sisters.
Saluting out in the heavenly order, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Wokaya Sha'ala, Men of Israel, Muslim, Ra,
Turn to face sisters. We ask the Most High in the name of the Christ to bless the brothers. And we're going to also salute the sisters and ask the Most High in the name of Christ to watch over and bless the sisters. And they're going to repeat the same blessing in return.
Saluting out the daughters of Zion, Men of Israel, Muslim, Ra,
Yajbata, dismissed, fall out. Alright. Alright, shalom, the water for watching. See you again on Friday.
All right, brothers.
Alright.
good seeing you, man.
Amen.